Today we'll be learning how to place stop loss orders on spreads within the ThinkorSwim app. We're going to be going through a few different examples using stops on different types of spreads like verticals, iron condors, and even butterflies. And we'll also cover how this is done on a position you already hold in your account, as well as how to attach it to a brand new trade. Now, if we wanted to begin first with a position we already hold in the account, you can come down here to the Positions tab, where we can now see everything that I currently hold in this account right now. If we wanted to begin with the AMD position that I currently hold, if I were to go ahead and click on that, down below you can now see all of the options legs I currently have on AMD. And although it's not identified, this is actually a butterfly spread. Looking from top to bottom, you can see I bought one of the $75 puts, I sold two of the $80 puts, and then I bought another one of the $85 puts. And although it doesn't do the math for me, I know I bought this butterfly spread for $1.10. So if I bought this butterfly for $1.10, let's say I wanted to get stopped out if it ever dropped below 90 cents, because I didn't want to lose more than $20 on the trade. So in order for us to actually do that, we're going to need to begin by actually check marking each of those legs on the left-hand side. Once all of them are check marked, we can then find the little button in the lower right-hand corner that says Close Selected. And you can actually see that as soon as I clicked on that, it actually gave us a list of all of the hypothetical trades that are inside of this butterfly spread. But for the most part, the overarching trade, the one that we want to close out of, is always going to be at the top. And that's exactly the case in our situation. Right at the top here, we can see a button that says I want to sell my one butterfly spread on AMD. And again, that's the 85 by 80 by 75 butterfly. And since that's exactly what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and click on that one. And then I'm going to come down to the lower left and hit Close Selected. You can then see that that automatically builds out a closing order ticket to close out of all three of those legs and sell the butterfly. If we were to just look through this order ticket from top to bottom, it's going to ask me the same exact questions you normally get asked. So what type of order do you want to use? How many did you want to sell? What price did you want to sell it for? And then how long did you want this order good for? Now, coming down below, you can see the very first thing it asks us is what type of order do we want to use? And currently it defaults to a limit order. If I were to actually hit the little arrow to the right of the word limit, you'll actually see we've got a stop order, we've got a stop limit order, and we've got a trailing stop order. Now, generally, all three of these are going to be used for the same purpose, to get us out before we lose too much money, but they are going to work slightly differently than one another. Going back to the stop or the stop market order, this one is going to allow us to set a specific price, and then if that spread ever hits that price, a market order is going to get submitted to sell the spread immediately. If we were to instead use a stop limit order, it is going to be very similar, where we still set a price at which we want to get out at, but instead of using a market order to get us out, we are going to use a limit order. That'll then allow us to set a minimum amount that we're willing to accept. But again, pretty similar to a standard stop order. Now the very final one up here, if we were to go ahead and click on that one, this one, a trailing stop order, lets us set a trailing amount rather than setting a very specific stop price. Meaning we could now say that if the spread were to ever drop by 5%, get me out. Or if it ever drops by 50 cents, get me out. So rather than specifying an exact stop price, we're saying that we want the stop to move up along with the spread. And then if it were to ever drop by that amount, then we want to exit the trade. But I know all of that can be a little bit confusing, so if you're new to it, let's just go ahead and use the stop price for right now. And just going through this one at a time, we're again saying we want to use a stop on our one butterfly spread. The stop type is saying that we're basing the actual activation price off of the asking price of the spread. So we're going to say if the asking price of the spread ever drops below this price, then get me out of it. And in my example, I wanted to get stopped out if it ever dropped below 90 cents. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust that from $1 down to 90 cents. Go ahead and hit done. And now that that's set, the only other thing that I want to do is adjust how long this order is good for. Looking down below at the time in force, or TIF, it says this order is only going to be good for the day. Meaning if the order does not fill by 4 p.m. Eastern time, just go ahead and cancel it. If I instead wanted this to be good until canceled, we can go ahead and click on that little arrow there, So now this order is going to go out there every single day from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time until it fills or until I cancel it, whatever comes first. But now that that's set and everything looks good, I can now come up here to the upper right-hand corner and hit the review button. This will then give me a little confirmation of exactly what it is we're about to do. And now in order to place it, I'll just come down below and hit send. Now that we've got the order placed, if I wanted to check on that, I could just come down here to the More button in the lower right-hand corner, then go ahead and click on the Orders tab. And right there you can see I've got that open order to stop me out of that butterfly spread on AMD if it ever drops below 90 cents. You can also cancel or edit these orders right from here by simply clicking on it, then just hitting the cancel order button to outright cancel it, or cancel/replace to edit it in some way. But just so we get the hang of it, let's go ahead and go back to the orders page and then come down here and open up our positions once again. Going through another example, let me go ahead and uncheck all of these trades on AMD. Let's instead open up my position on Amazon. Now again, although it's not identified, this is actually an iron condor that I sold. So if we wanted to put a stop loss order on this iron condor to get us out before we lose too much money, let's go ahead and check mark each of those legs just like we did before. Once we've done that, we can then hit the Close Selected button in the lower right-hand corner. It'll then give me a list of all of the trades that are technically inside of this iron condor if we were to break it down one leg at a time. But since I want to get stopped out of the entire trade, we're going to click on the top line there, the one that says Buy One Iron Condor. Once we've done that and we hit Close Selected in the lower left-hand corner, you can now see it takes us to an order ticket to buy back that entire spread. And remember, it is buying back the spread because we sold the iron condor to get into it, so now in order to get out of it, we need to buy it back. If we were to go through this just one step at a time, remember I do need to flip this over from a limit order to a stop order. I can then come down below and actually set my stop activation price. And in my case, I'm going to say if this spread ever trades above, let's just say $3, that's when I want to get stopped out of it. And like I said a second ago, because we sold it, the stop needs to be above the current price. And the current price of this iron condor is $1.46. So I'm essentially saying if it goes up 100%, if it goes up from $1.46 up to $3, I want to get stopped out of this thing because I didn't want to lose more than $150. But now that that's set, the only other thing I have to do is come down here to where it says Time in Force Day, and I'm also going to flip this one over from a day order to a GTC order. Once set, I can then come up here and hit the Review button in the upper right, then hit Send to actually place the trade. Just like before, in order to check on it, we do need to open up the Orders tab, which is right down here at the bottom of my screen, but for you it might be in the More tab, and then you might have to find it within this little window in here. But looking up there at the top of the page, not only can we see our stop to get us out of the butterfly spread, but we can also see the stop on the iron condor as well. So right there it says buy back this iron condor if it ever trades above $3. But going through my last position, if we come back here to the positions page, let me go ahead and uncheck each of these legs, and let's instead open up the Google position. Looking down here at this one, I can actually see it is a long vertical call spread on Google. Again, although it's not identified, I can see here that I bought the $90 call and I sold the $95 call. So I know this is a long vertical call spread. In order to close this one out, we'll start by check marking each of the boxes on the left-hand side, then come down below in the lower right-hand corner and click on Close Selected. We can then see the overarching trade is at the very top there, Sell One Vertical Google Call Spread. So we're going to go ahead and click on that and then hit Close Selected. We can then see our order ticket gets built out automatically to just outright sell this vertical call spread against Google. But since I want to flip this over to a stop order, let's come up here to the order type and flip it over to a stop order. We can then come down below and adjust the stop activation price. So right now with the vertical spread currently trading at $2.05, let's say that I wanted to get stopped out if it ever dropped below $1.50. Essentially 50 cents or $50 below the current price of the spread. Now that that's done, the only other thing I have to do is flip this over from a day order to a GTC order. And now to place it, we'll just come up here to the review button in the upper right-hand corner and then hit send to actually place it. But that should give you a good idea on how this is done on positions you already hold in your account, the spreads that you already have purchased. Now, if you instead wanted to attach a stop to a brand new spread that you haven't even put on yet, let's go ahead and use an example on, let's just say NVIDIA. So I'm going to come up here to the search box in the upper right, go ahead and throw in NVIDIA, NVDA, go ahead and search for it. We can see up here at the top that NVIDIA last traded for $229.65. Let's go ahead and open up the option chain right here. If we look down below, let me go ahead and minimize 17 March for a second. We can now see all of the available expirations over here on the left-hand side. Now, just for example's sake, let's say I wanted to sell a vertical put spread on NVIDIA. I thought it was more likely than not to go up, but I was more neutral on it overall. So to begin, let's say that I wanted to sell one that was about 41 days out. Looks like that would be the 21st of April. Let's go ahead and open that up. I could now scroll down and look at the list of available strike prices. And let's just say, for example's sake, I thought NVIDIA was going to be above $200 a share. So in that case, I'm going to be selling the $200 put, which if I look to the right is currently going for $540 by $550. In order to begin, we'll be clicking on the bid price of the $200 put. So right here, we're going to click on $5.40. You can then see that as soon as I clicked on it, that leg got added to the very top of our screen. So right there, it says the 21 April $200 put, and I'm selling one of them. So that's why it says -1. And now in order to buy the hedge or buy the further out of the money put as our protection, let's say I wanted to buy the 190 put, which currently has an asking price of $3.65. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that number in order to buy it. Looking back at the top there, you can now see both of our legs. So we've got one short $200 put and then one long 190 put. And now to build out this trade, we'll just hit the next button in the upper right-hand corner. That will then automatically build out the short vertical put spread against NVIDIA. And if I look down here, it looks like I'm selling one of them at a limit price of $1.87. So let's just say we wanted to do that. I wanted to fill immediately, and I'll take whatever the current price is. In this case, $1.87. But then as soon as that happens, as soon as I sell this vertical for $1.87, I wanted to get stopped out if it ever went above $3. And remember, the reason I'm putting the stop above the price that we're selling it for is because this is a short vertical. For me to lose money on the short vertical, the price of the spread needs to increase in value. So in order to do that, we're going to need to scroll down to the very bottom of the screen, and we're then going to click on the button here that says Create an Advanced Order. That will then show us the trade that we're originally doing right up here at the top to actually sell this vertical put spread against NVIDIA. But then down below that, we can actually click to add a brand new order. So we're submitting an order to go out there after the original trade fills, after we sell the vertical. In order to edit the parameters of that brand new order, we're going to need to click on it. And now down here, I can actually flip this over from a limit order to a stop order. And I can adjust the stop price from, right now it's 87 cents. I'm going to bump that up to $3. I'm also going to flip the order over from a day order to a GTC order, making it good until canceled. And now that that's set, if I were to go back to the group in the upper left-hand corner, you can now see exactly what I'm about to do. I'm about to sell this vertical put spread against NVIDIA, and it looks like I'm going to be collecting $1.87 in premium. And then when or if that ever happens, if I actually fill on that opening trade, I automatically want to stop to go out there to get me out if it ever trades above $3. So doing the math for a second, I'm essentially saying I don't want to lose anything more than $1.13, because that's the difference between what I'm selling it for, $1.87, and what I'm getting stopped out at, $3. To place that, I can then come up and hit the review button in the upper right. We can again see the exact same details we just saw here, just a little confirmation. And now to place that, we'll just hit the send button in the lower right-hand corner. Just like all the other orders that we place, in order to keep track of that or check on it, we'll just come down here below to the orders tab. And right up there, we can see our brand new order. our open order to sell this vertical spread, and then if it happens, it's linked to that second order, which is going to get submitted to buy it back at $3. But I know that was a lot, and hopefully you now feel at least a little bit more comfortable with the entire process on the ThinkorSwim app. For those of you still looking to learn more, consider checking out this video next. You might find it helpful as well. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on the next one.